Hello and welcome. I am Scarpalock, and this is City of Heroes on Rebirth, the private server. We are with our Stalker, Tiger Shrike, who has 9,000 experience, only needs 262 to get to level 9. We have 18,000 information, and so last episode, it took me a long time, and I was trying to find a villain in the mission instance. I couldn't find him. I tried a couple things, nothing worked, so I just auto-completed it from the contact menu. So that then, I then questioned him about the fact that this is his brother, Subject Zero, and so now we're going to continue the story, and I'm bringing you back in because as soon as you say okay, it apparently teleports us straight to the mission. So he says we're able to find Subject Zero, and then I guess I answer, and he says a rampage in South Etna. If something isn't done, we could lose Subject Zero and our cure forever to the PPD. Quick, Tiger Shrike. I know of a way that you can slip in there to disarm the situation and get Subject Zero before the PPD does. Those who are loyalists can speak to Provost Marchon, but we're not, so we're going to go ahead and begin the mission. Alright, and here we go. So somebody made a comment today. Again, I apologize you're not remembering people's names, but I'm not looking at the YouTube channel right now. I made a really good point on the first video of this series and said, now that you're on Rebirth, he said you might like it better because it'll suit your playstyle better. And he might be right, because if you've watched my Scrapper videos, you would know that I like the old school stuff. And I had not played City of Heroes, for the last, probably from issue 15 on, and they got to issue 24, which is what this is. And each issue is a basically quarterly, 3 or 4 times per year they did an update, which they called an issue, like a comic book issue. And so I hadn't seen like the last 10 issues worth of stuff, Incarnate Trials and all of that. And so I've assumed most of the time that most of what I was seeing was stuff that was put in by the developers in the last few issues. But it turns out that some of the stuff I was seeing was apparently put in by the Homecoming guys and wasn't actually that way in the live servers or even in the beta servers while the game was still in production at all. And I'm starting to see some of that here and now. Right? One of the examples, if you look at an older episode of this playthrough, I was looking to type /AH, and that I thought was going to start up the auction house. Turns out, no, that's something that Homecoming did, but I don't think that that's anything the live servers ever did. Alright, so now we got to look for this guy. These guys are causing mayhem. I don't really care about that much, but we do have to retrieve Subject Zero. So I guess we'll take a couple of them out. So yeah, I talked about this story in my Scrapper playthrough, but of course some of you may be just watching this and not have seen the Scrapper playthrough. So I'm going to go ahead and go through some of the story over the next few episodes of City of Heroes and how it died and then how it came back. So City of Heroes first came out in 2004, in April of 04. I began playing it in March of 04, and I did not make a mistake. It was March, early March. I got invited into the closed beta. Two friends of mine had been in the beta since February. They hadn't been able to tell me until I guess, I remember the whole story, but somehow or other I was able to hint to them that I'd gotten into the beta, and they're like, oh, we're in the beta too, and once we knew we were all in the beta, we could talk about it. Because the NDA was supposed to be, the non-disclosure agreement was supposed to be that you weren't supposed to reveal to anyone that you were in the closed beta. So I got into this game, obviously not the Praetorian stuff, but the original City of Heroes. I got into it in March of 2004. I played the closed beta. I actually played a character called Dr. Cyclone, who was a defender, a storm defender. And then I made up my character named Fractal, who is a martial arts super reflex scrapper. We've now leveled to level 9, which is pretty great. And there's subject 0. So let's sweep the area and make sure that everything's clean here. I really came to love the martial arts super reflex scrapper, and so her name was actually Symmetry on the original server. I should see if I can get that name here. But anyway, it was called she was called Symmetry. It was based on the character of Dove, who's a character of Law and Order from DC Comics. And just gonna go ahead and try to up the recharge here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I meant to click combine. So we are now recharging every 49 seconds, which is way better than every minute. Anyway, I really like the character. I couldn't get Symmetry. I couldn't get the properly spelled name Fractal, so I had to spell it weird. And that became my character for protect subject 0 from incoming. Okay. So I just fell in love with martial arts. It was so awesome, and it was so much fun to play. And I loved being a scrapper. And so when Live Game came out, instead of going with my idea for a defender, I went with scrapper. And I loved it, and it was awesome, and I had a lot of fun playing it. And I played City of Heroes for a while, and then I stopped for a while. We got a badge. Oh, I hate being knocked down. Wow. I might lose this fight, even though this guy's -1 to me. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we found an enhancement. We got a reward merit. That's the end of the story arc. And we completed the mission. Excellent. 7 minutes. So we're going to head out, and we'll finish this mission, and then I'll continue the story. So we've left off where the game went live, and I was playing a scrapper, and I played it for 9 months. And then I got tired of the game, and I stopped playing it for a while. And now we'll talk to our contact. And he says, Tiger Shrike, this terrific Subject 0 is back in our custody. Now I can move forward with finding a cure. You and I, however, are not done yet. Far from it. I'll need your help in finding the lost companions for the cure, the last companions for the cure components for the cure before I properly administer it. So, all right, we have his phone number, right? Yes. So I'm not going to take this right now. I'm going to go ahead and pick up another level, and then we'll call him. All right. So I played the game from April until January of 2005, and then I stopped. I was in the 40s. I'd gotten kind of bored of it. There was a lot of grinding. You didn't gain levels this fast, and there was a lot of street sweeping, and I wasn't happy with that. We're going to go ahead and add slots to Assassin's Claw. We do not have any 2-hit enhancers. Accuracy. I'm not going to buy any trainers. It's just not worth the influence or information. Alright, so we have 21,000 now. We got a bunch of salvage. Mostly not orange, so we just don't want to sell that one. But we can sell all the ones that are worth 250. Keep the yellows for now. We have plenty of space. I kind of got tired of it. I got tired of it was too easy. Once you get to the higher levels, the white cons are just too easy. Nowadays, you can use the notoriety command here. Or do we not have that? I guess we don't. Oh, wow. You can talk to somebody. There's a contact you can talk to who can set your mission difficulty to a higher level. And so here where it said +0 times 0, you can set it to a different level. And so that didn't exist back when I started playing. And so once you get to the 40s and everything's a white con, you're just blowing. I mean, I used to do missions in 5 minutes. and just blow through them, no challenge, just wipe them out. And that was kind of boring. Now, what some people would do is they would group up with other people who were higher level than them, go into the mission, then degroup and solo it. But I just couldn't see the point of doing that, so I just quit. And then when City of Villains came out, I joined the game back up again, and they had added a bunch of really cool features. And I think eventually the mission difficulty slider came out in like issue 4 or something like that. And then I was able to up the difficulty, and it was more of a challenge. And then I was having more fun. But now let's see what this story is. Part 1 of the Red Bomb. Subject Zero was doing just fine. Within my lab, I was able to sneak him in without anyone noticing, in the dead of night, of course, while you were out chasing Zero. I was wrapping up loose ends in my research. I need one final chemical to complete the cure. Only I just now realized it. I need a blood sample from someone who has been on Fixidine for an extremely long time. This is so I have another sample to compare Subject Zeros with. Two extremes, you see. One blood sample for a normal person, myself. Another from someone who's completely far gone. Of course, something like this would have to be done by, well, someone like you. During your chase after Subject Zero, you remember destroyers mentioning the Red Bomb, and I do remember that. A powerful destroyer whom they all look up to and respect. If there's one destroyer that could fit his experiment, it's him. This arc is a single-player moral choice story arc. You will not be able to have other people on your team. That's fine. So, why Subject Zero just mentioned the Red Bomb. He was trying to lash out at me, saying he was going to prove himself so that he could join the Red Bomb's raid on a nearby office building today. I hadn't thought anything of it. I believe Red Bomb is just a regular destroyer. So I informed the PPD what was going to happen, but if he's the destroyer we need, they need to hurry to that building and get his blood before the PPD move in on him. So now we have to do that. So while we're doing this, I'll continue my story. No clues. Do we have any souvenirs? Oh, we have a few. Okay. Pretty cool. So, it's fall of 2005, and City of Villains came out. And it was pretty fun. And it was neat playing villains, and I made a Dominator, and I got her to level 43 or something, and I got my Scrapper to level 50, and I got my Tanker to level 40-something. And I played for a long time, and then, you know, after about a year, I started getting interested in other games, like, I don't know, Lord of the Rings Online, something like that. And I stopped playing again, so this would have been, I guess it wouldn't have been Lord of the Rings Online yet, but whatever, I became interested in other things. And so sometime in 2006, I quit the game again. And this started a pattern of me playing for a year or so, and then getting tired of it, and then coming back. And, I always loved it. I always loved the combat. This is my favorite combat engine of anything, of any MMO I've ever played. God, I hate being knocked down. But there were, you know, there were things that, you know, it can get monotonous, especially back in the day when they hadn't changed the leveling curve. And I like to roleplay, and I wasn't always able to be part of a roleplay guild, and that frustrated me and things like that. So, what are we looking for here? Reactivate the emergency systems to douse some fires, extract Fixidine from the Red Bomb. Okay, so this is another lieutenant. So, I played on and off from 2005 till 2009 or something. And then I got interested in other games, and I never came back. And just as I was getting tired of Star Wars: The Old Republic, which came out in 2011, just as I was getting tired of it in August or September of 2012, now we just have to find the Red Bomb and take him out. Just as I was getting tired of Star Wars: The Old Republic and wanting to come back to this game, they announced it was closing. And there was no point to coming back because it was going to close. So what happened is, nobody really knows exactly what happened between Cryptic Studios, which is, well, Paragon Studios. Let me back up. So Cryptic Studios, run by Statesman, i.e. Jack Emmert, are the guys that created this game. They created it they started working on it in 2002 or something. And it was a really cool idea that Emmert and his friends had to make a superhero MMO. And that's the game that we were playing initially. In 2000 and something like 7 or 8, I can't remember now, 2007, something like that, it was announced that um, there was going to be a Marvel MMO like this. So what happened is Marvel Comics sued Cryptic Studios and NCSoft, right? NCSoft is the publisher, Cryptic Studios is the developer that writes the code. NCSoft was mostly just running the servers and dealing with the front end of like taking people's credit card information and stuff like that. Which Cryptic was, too small and too kind of I don't want to say amateur, but too small and too mom and pop of an operation to handle. And and you can see there was fire here, but it's smoke now because we re-engaged the sprinkler system. So Cryptic Studios beat everybody to the punch with a superhero game. Nobody thought of it, and when Marvel saw how successful it was, they wanted to have an MMO, and they know they had been beaten to the punch, right? Cryptic and NCSoft had beaten them, and so we know that when the game came out, when it was getting ready to come out, Cryptic Studios sent a letter to both DC and Marvel Comics. And what they said in the letter was, we're making a superhero MMO. It's going to allow players to make up costumes and character names. And we are willing to, right off the bat, forbid anyone to make characters that are copies of your characters, of your copyrighted properties, your trademark properties. And so they said, please give us a list of what properties you would like to protect. And we will put those names on a ban list, and no one will be able to make those characters. DC handed them a one sheet of names like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and the like, right? Which is what you would expect. Marvel Comics, according to rumor, I mean, obviously I never saw this, but this is the rumor that we were told. Marvel Comics gave them like a book, pretty much the entire list of all the characters that appear in the official handbook to the Marvel Universe, every name they wanted banned. And instead of Cryptic Studios saying, you're completely unreasonable, we're not going to ban names like Nomad, which are normal words, we'll ban names like Captain America, Cryptic said, okay. And here's the red bomb. So Cryptic said, okay, we will ban those names. And they banned, I don't know, 1,000 names or however much it was. Just great. So they banned all those names. And I might lose this fight. Wow, these lieutenants are really tough. We got him. Found a clue. So let's see what the clue is, and I'll continue my story. We were able to retrieve the Fixidine blood from the red bomb. Why are you coming over to me? And put it in. The minute the blood was poured into the vial, increased substantially in temperature. Definitely not an ordinary blood sample. So this was the beginning, the sort of the setting of all the stuff that happened next. What happened next was Marvel Comics wanted to make an MMO, and again, they knew they had been beaten to the punch, and so they actually had conducted a sting operation, if you want to call it that. They had somebody go in and make up a character that looked exactly like the Hulk, right? Green skin, big bulky guy, ripped pants, because you can do that in the costume creator. And they then took a screenshot of it, and they called the guy like the underscore N dash Curtable Hulk or something like that. And then they put him into the game, and they took screenshots, and then they sued Cryptic and NCSoft, saying, you're allowing these copyrighted characters to be in your game. I'll continue with that story after we talk to this guy. How much time has elapsed? 19 minutes. Okay. So he says, Tiger Shrike, thank you. I wish I could say things are going well, but they're not. The PPD have found out about my experiments and have forbidden me from entering my lab. Luckily, I was able to get Subject Zero out before they raided the place, only thanks to the quick work of my secretary. I'm not too surprised this happened. Often when trying to cure a disease, the symptoms of it will work together to fight against a cure. It's a good thing I've got just what I need to fight back thanks to your help. And then the next step, the finale. Wow, these are really short story arcs. My nephew, the monster. This is it, Tiger Shrike. Everything we worked for has come down to this one moment. I say we, as I've come to trust you as a valuable friend, not an assistant, mind you, a friend. PPD have guarded my lab, but I know of a time when their guard will be lowered. Tunnel Rat will create a distraction. That is when you and I can sneak in with Subject Zero. Once we get inside, I can administer the final step for the cure of the Fixidine. Are you ready, Tiger Shrike? Yeah, let's do it. So, we got to go to his lab, and I'll continue the story. So, having taken the screenshots, or in-game video, they then sued Marvel. And so there was a court case, and the judge actually didn't buy a lot of what Marvel was saying, and it appeared like they were going to lose their case. And then we suddenly heard there was a settlement, and an NDA prevented them from talking about it. And somebody right away said, I bet the settlement is they're going to ask Cryptic to make a Marvel superhero game. And sure enough, about a year later, maybe more, it was announced that Statesman, Jack Emmert, and another team were leaving to create their own new game, basically called Marvel Online. And he took some of the team with him, and the rest of the team stayed behind. And NCSoft created a new division called Paragon Studios, and those guys were the developers of this game. And so by the middle of the cycle of this game, what are we seeing here? It looks like we're waiting. What are we waiting for? Oh, he's in the tube. Excuse me. Not a big fan of cutscenes, particularly this kind of cutscene where you're just standing around. I feel like the animations and the graphics of this game really don't hold up to the close-ups of the cutscenes. Intruders detected in the lab, so now we're going to have to protect them. PPD, intruders detected. Okay, so now we're going to have to protect them from the PPD coming in before. So are we going to release Subject Zero or apprehend him? So we're resistance. We're going to release Subject Zero. I wish there was a way to see how much resistance cred I have. Defeat the Interrogator. Interrogator costs to defeat Captain Murray and 2 groups of PPD to defeat. Okay, so we gotta go back. So I'll continue the story. So Cryptic Studios was not allowed to work on the game of a competitor, right? So they separated. Paragon Studios became the development studio under Positron, who was the lead dev. Statesman was kind of the director of the company. Positron was the lead dev. So he took over. Matt Miller, his name was, I believe. Or Mark Miller. And he then ran the game, and Paragon Studios ran the game for several years. Something happened. We don't really know what. Something happened where NCSoft decided that they were done with this game. As far as we know, it was still profitable. Not highly profitable, but, it was in the green. It wasn't losing money. And there seems to have been, although nobody's ever been able to confirm or explain this, some sort of a falling out between the Paragon Studios people and NCSoft. And they just said, we're pulling the plug. And so in August, I believe it was, of 2012, they said, we're done. This game is going to be sunset in November. And the Paragon Studios guys said, hey, look, we'll buy it from you. They said no, they wouldn't allow it. Several other groups of people tried to buy it from them. They wouldn't allow it. And so they just sunset the game. And that was it. And City of Heroes went away. And that's as far as anyone knew for years and years until 2019. The game was gone, and as far as we knew, it was never coming back. There was a group of people called the Titan Network that I think were related to the people working on City of Titans, perhaps. And those guys kept saying they were in negotiations with NCSoft to try and take over the game and get the code, but nothing ever came of that. And as far as we knew, nothing was ever going to come of it. And we've been sent a text message by Calvin Scott. So I'm going to leave the story there, and in the next episode, we'll pick up with what happened in the intervening 7 years and how the game came back. Most of you probably know this story, but for those of you who don't, hopefully it'll be an interesting trip down memory lane. And it'll eventually lead back to where we are now and why we're on the Rebirth server and what the Rebirth server is in relation to the Homecoming servers. Got 25 minutes. I would really like to find some guys that are my level and get to 10th level. Let's head to the train station. Because we're so close to level 10, guys. And that'll allow us to get either integration or dull pain. I mean, the wise part of me is saying dull pain, right? Because then we have 2 heals. And dull pain also increases our hit points in addition to healing us. And so we can alternate dull pain and reconstruction. But the part of me that gets annoyed at being knocked down really wants to get integration because I hate being knocked down. Alright, I think for 9th and 10th level we need to go to another zone. So let's go ahead and check this out. Right, so Imperial City. And I just want to find a few guys because we're not far. Each one gives us something like 22 or 3 experience, I think. 25, maybe? Let's take a look at the rewards window as soon as we load in. 19, 20, something like that. And we need 217, so we really just need to defeat 10 guys, right? So let's just go ahead and do that before we start another story arc. So let's see. I have no idea. I mean, I guess I could beat these guys up. Are you kidding me? I missed him? Oh well. So now they're all going to aggro to me, of course. Now see that, where I was able to get the Assassin Strike to work on him as he was running away. In the old Assassin Strike, they must be slowing me down. The old Assassin Strike, it would have interrupted because he moved away. Now it only interrupts if you're doing a full assassination from a hidden concealment. So, those guys are 19 each. We're now down to 141 XP left. Let's see if we can actually assassinate this guy. Come on. There we go. And now this guy's afraid, so he's just going to get his butt kicked. There we go. We should be in the double digits now. Almost. 103 XP left. See if we can maybe find a yellow con. Whoa! Where the heck did I go? Nova Praetoria. Oh, this I went to the wrong... So the maps are connected and I didn't realize it. Let's go back to Imperial City. This is the main zone, by the way, of Praetoria. Because it's like the mid-level zone, and... Let's see. PPD Enforcer, PPD Enforcers. There's nobody fun to beat up. I guess we can beat up a cleaner, I guess. There's a yellow con. That'll be worth more XP. Oh, whoa. That's a little tough. Alright, these guys are a little better. The lieutenant will be good XP. This should level us up, or get very close. Yeah, because that's 63 experience. misclicking like crazy here. And we have leveled up, guys. We're 10th level now. So we can go to the trainer. Where's the trainer? I just saw the trainer symbol here. There. Okay. Yeah, interestingly, there's not a lot of hostiles in this zone. You can attack people, but there are not a lot of hostiles in this zone because it's like a dictatorial monarchy. Next level. So we can get Dull Pain, Fast Healing, Build Up. I guess we're going Dull Pain. And we got a badge for going to 10th level. So now what Reconstruction will do is it will add about 60 hit points out of 240, right, which is a quarter. Dull Pain will heal a little less than that. Oh, actually a little more than that, and add 45. So it adds about like a sixth of your hit points to your max. So it would bring my hit points up to like 280, and then it gives you like an 80 point heal, which is quite nice. The time delay on this is 6 minutes. So this is going to be another power that needs to be 6 slotted with heals and with recharges. Alright, so let's find a vendor. And we can sell out all of our old enhancements. And guys, we're 2 levels away from level 12. At that point, it's at least theoretically possible to buy dual origin enhancers. We do not have enough infamy or information to do that right now. But we will once we sell this orange salvage. So it's really just a waiting game to get up to 50,000 or so infamy and information, and at that point, then we'll be able to sell. Then we'll be able to sell the salvage. We can sell these guys though. Just go ahead and get rid of everything that's not orange. We have 30,000. We're getting very close to being able to put this thing up and try to get a big giant payday from it. And let's see, this is now expired. We can combine this and this to a level 7. It's not great. All of our accuracy enhancers are expired. So at level 12, what we're going to do is buy 1, 2, 3 accuracy enhancers and probably nothing else, unless we've already got our million from the auction house. We'll just to see what happens. Alright guys, we have some more story arcs to do and lots more interesting adventures to be on, but for now, I think this is a long enough episode, so we'll stop here. And we're at level 10. Pretty cool. And I'll see you next time on City of Heroes on the Rebirth server. I am Scrapperlock, and I hope you've enjoyed.